Hello everyone and welcome back to Greenpine Zoo and Gardens. I am doing way better than last week, so still a little cold, but as I said, way better. So thank you for all your well wishes. Let's get back into the zoo, into your favorite zoo, I hope so. In last week's episode we started with the new area that we are going to build within the next few weeks or few episodes. I hope it's not going to take too long. We are building the rhino enclosures. Yeah, enclosures, because it's going to be more than just one. In last week's episode we already built this beautiful rhino house that you can see right here. After the real-time part I'm going to move it a little bit because I wasn't too happy with the place where it was standing, so I decided I'm going to move it just a little bit so that we do have more space for the rhino habitats afterwards. So we have 2 indoor enclosures, as you can see. Well, 3 if you count the one with a pool as a separate indoor enclosure. We also do have 2 indoor enclosures for animals that we don't know yet which ones are going to move into that house, but maybe we'll have an idea when this video is going to end, because you can see that everything changed a little bit. So first of all, I decided to change the indoor of the house a little bit as well. I had the keeper hut in there and also the staff room, I think it was, and I decided it's going to be too tight in there, so we're not going to have those in here. So I deleted both of the staff buildings and decided we are going to use the staff buildings that we do have in the cat's house. So our keepers will take care of the rhinos as well. We're just hiring another team so that the team can use all the staff buildings that we do have in the cat's house, but they will take care solely of the animals in the rhino house. So there's that. That also means that we do have a little bit more space in the house, which is nice, and we do have more space for the animals that are going to move in, hopefully in next week's episode as well. So I just finished the pool because I saw that we didn't have any kind of stairs in there, that our rhinos could actually use the pool, and then we needed to build the gates for the rhinos so that they actually can walk outside. If you can remember, I was telling you guys that I wanted to have 2 separate habitats, so one for a female and a baby, and the other one for the male. So I think we're not going to have some babies in here for quite some time, unless we are going to change the animals in the habitats. Well, and we are also going to have a co-joint habitat. I don't know if that's the right word. So we are going to have the nilgai and the blackbuck with the rhinos in the same habitat. But I decided we are just going for one habitat where we are going to combine those 2 animals, those 3 animals. And in the other one we are just having a smaller habitat just for one single rhino. So that's what we are going to do, and therefore I found the perfect solution, because I told you guys that I had problems imagining that we do have the nilgai and the blackbuck with the Indian rhinos in the same habitat, and then, like it is in the game, you have the antelopes walk into the indoor enclosure for the rhino, which they shouldn't do in real life, and you also would have the rhinos walk into the shelter for the antelopes, which also doesn't make any sense, and I found the perfect solution for that. as we do have two habitats, I decided the first one that we are going to build in today's episode, we are going to close the indoor habitat for the rhinos, so that the rhinos actually can't go in there because the gates are closed. So this will also prevent the antelopes from going into that shelter. So then there's only one problem left. What are we going to do with the rhinos that would walk into the shelter of the antelopes? That problem will also be solved, as I am going to build some kind of a barrier that only works for the rhinos but not for the antelopes. So we are using those wooden pillars I think we got with the... what DLC was it? What was the DLC before the Asia Animal Pack? The Americas Animal Pack. Yeah, we got those new wooden beams that you will see in a minute, as we are going to use it for the indoor enclosure for the rhinos as well. I was using those and built a little barrier with two openings in between that are big enough for the antelopes to walk through that, but too small for the rhinos to walk through that, so that in the end the antelopes can go into their indoor enclosure, but the rhinos won't be able to do that. The only problem that we do have with this kind of solution is that the rhinos are not going to have a hard shelter which they can go into. But as we already do have deselected the animal needs because of the honey badgers that living in the cat house, that is not a problem at all. Okay, so, but we do have this beautiful indoor enclosure for the rhinos with the indoor pool and whatever. So therefore the solution is that we are going to have the gate for the indoor enclosure open on the other side, where we are going to have the single rhino, the male. So the male can actually go into the indoor enclosure and can also take a bath in the pool. So we have the perfect solution. We will have rhinos in the house, but we won't have any antelopes in that house, and we also won't have any rhinos in the shelter for the antelopes as well. Win-win-win, I guess. Yeah, but that brought up another problem. I needed to find a place where I could actually put the gate for our keeper, where he can enter the habitat for the animals. I didn't want it to be at the antelope shelter, because that would have meant that I would have to build a complete new staff area, because it was too far away from the staff area that we got in the cat house, so this wouldn't have worked at all. So therefore I decided we are going to have the gate right here next to the wall where I put those wooden pillars, and have an entrance gate there for our keepers so that they can enter into the habitat right there. Yeah, which leads to some more problems, but yeah, I think I have to deal with it, at least right now. The first problem was, as the gates are closed for the indoor habitat for the rhinos and the antelopes, also our keeper is not going to be able to go into the habitat outside and take care of our animals. And I wanted to have feeders out there. I needed to have feeders out there, because when the animals can't go into the indoor habitat, yeah, what can you do? So the solution for this was that I was opening the gates just a little bit so that it would be enough for our keepers to go into the outdoor habitat, but not wide enough so that the antelopes can go in there. So, problem solved. But the next problem is all of our animals have been brought into the indoor habitat and they can't walk outside. So therefore I had to take every single animal manual and put it into the outdoor habitat. So once one of these animals gets sick and needs to go to the vet, I have to get it from the inside and put it out manually. So that's not perfect, but I think we are going to change that once this all is done and I'm having the energy and the time, and yeah, first and foremost I am willing to build another staff area on the backside of the habitat. Once we've done that, we can actually have a gate at the shelter for the antelopes. So then we would only have a problem with the rhinos, that we have to take them out manually, but yeah, we can do that. So what I'm building right here, as I'm talking the whole time, I'm building something like a pavilion where our visitors can come a little bit closer to the animals, a little bit more into the habitat, because yeah, we don't have the chance for the visitors as we are having a dry mode on the right side and also a little bit of a pool on the left side for the rhinos, so that our visitors can't come too close to the animals and the animals can't actually escape from their habitat. So yeah, and therefore I built this little pavilion. I tried to build it in somewhat of the Indonesian style that we also did for many of the other habitats around the zoo, so that it looks somewhat cohesive, and we have the mix of this heavily themed items in the zoo and also somewhat modern buildings like the Rhino House is. Yeah, and once again, this whole build took way more time than I anticipated, so therefore we are only going to finish the habitat for the rhinos, for the couple of rhinos and the antelopes in today's episode, and we are going to take care of the other rhino habitat within next week's episode. So I hope we will be able to finish this area, but yeah, at least in 2 more episodes I think we are completely finished with that, because we also do have to take care of the 2 indoor habitats that we still have, and still have no plan which animals are going to move in there. But I am very, very tempted to have, I wanted to say the turtles, but it's not turtles, it's the tortoises move in there, because at the end of the video, or in a few minutes, you will see that we actually would have some space for yeah, for the tortoises, for an outdoor habitat as well. So might be a great idea. Or maybe we're going to have something completely different there. I'm thinking about the Asian animal pack that we got a few weeks or months ago. I think it's a month ago right now. Maybe we do have a small animal that we can put into that habitat. I was thinking about the tanuki, but I think the tanuki would be a little bit too big and the habitat would be too small for a pair of them. Yeah, and the only other animal that is small enough to fit in there maybe would be the honey badger, but we already do have him in the house, in the cat house. So yeah, maybe we are going to stick with the tortoises or the pangolin or both of them, and giving the pangolin an outdoor habitat as well, which I don't know would make so much sense, because pangolins are nocturnal animals, so you can have an outdoor habitat for them, but in real life you won't be able to see them at any time at all. So yeah, I don't know. So once again, if you have any ideas when you have a look at the habitat at the end of the video, just let me know in the comment section. I appreciate every single one of you guys that commented in last week's video with the ideas for the animals that can live in there. So the lion-tailed macaque was a great idea. Maybe we could build something for them now that we do have enough space on the outside. That could be a possibility. I don't know. Some of you wanted the pangolin. Yeah, some of you suggested that we could have some exhibit animals in there as well. But yeah, I don't know, because the building is not that big, and those exhibits are quite big and quite bulky, so I think those exhibits would take too much space. Yeah, I just was thinking now that I removed the staff buildings on the inside, but still I think it's just too much space. Yeah, so if you have any other ideas of what actually could go in there, just let me know. But right now I think pangolin and tortoises, maybe combining those two could be a nice idea. I don't know. So now I'm creating the pool for the rhinos, and I am very happy, because I wasn't too sure if they are actually using it in the end, because it seemed a little bit steep for them to go into it. But yeah, at the end of the video I think you can see them go into the pool, or at least one of those two females, and I'm very happy with that. Using those pieces that we already used for all of the other animals in here as well, to make it look more zooey and artificial. Yeah, I was also using those wooden pillars so that the rhinos can't come too close to the pavilion, or maybe step up to the pavilion, and our visitors would be tempted to touch them or pet them, and I don't want that. So therefore I used those pillars as well, so to keep them a little bit away from the visitors. A little mud bath in here, which I definitely wanted it for the rhinos. Also right next to our visitors, so that they can see the animals taking mud bath. Yeah, and on the right side I wanted to have a dry mode, because I didn't want to have too big water feature that takes too much space, so I thought one pool for the animals would be enough. So, and here is the barrier for the antelopes with the wider gaps so that the antelopes can walk through that. You can see something like that in several zoos where they have something like those habitats for elephants, rhinos, or even hippos that are combined with habitats for antelopes so that the antelopes can escape when there's a danger situation with the rhinos or whatever, or if the bigger animals get too much on their nerves so that they can go to a more quiet place and be in a more safe zone. So therefore stuff like this is used in real zoos as well. And also, if you combine different species in a habitat, you want them to get together very slowly and make them feel comfortable, and therefore you need time. So you need to have the chance to separate the animals or bring them together just for a few hours, see how it goes, and then separate them once again. So therefore this is also a great idea. So here was using those faux rocks because I thought real rocks would not make too much sense in here, as this is something that is created by man, so we don't need to have a natural look around this. Some plants in the water to make it look a little bit more realistic. Covering the rocks a little bit with the fern here. Yeah, also covering the gaps between the pool and the landscape a little bit with those faux pebble stones. Some bison grass in between so that everything looks nice. We're not going to have too much greenery in the habitat, as well as I mentioned for the other hoofstock animals as well. You won't see too much greenery in hoofstock animal habitats because yeah, they would feed on all of the grass. So if you see really green habitats for those animals in zoos, then the reason is because the habitats are huge, so that the animals won't even be able to eat everything. So I'm thinking about the African savannah in the zoo in Leipzig, for example, or as well the African savannah in the zoo in Prague. Which is also massive and pretty green, so all the zebras, antelopes, giraffes, and what is on that habitat as well can't eat all of the grass because it's just too much. But for smaller habitats with many animals on that, you won't see them very green. And also I'm always trying not to put too many plants into the habitat because you want to be able to see the animals. So I'm always trying to put more plants outside the habitat to make it look a little bit more overgrown, but let the actual habitat be free of plants as much as I can. So just a few of those trees in here so that the animals do have a little bit of a shade in here, but the rest of the plants is going to go outside. We're going to have a bit of bison grass and creosote bush in here as well. Of course we do. because I love those plants and I need to put them in every single habitat, but yeah, not too much. Also some dead trees for the antelopes, especially to shove their horns against that. That is some kind of an animal enrichment, very natural animal enrichment that is used by some zoos as well in real life. So here you go, some plants on the outside. Changing the lighting a little bit. That is something that I'm always doing and that I'm always mentioning, because I'm always looking where the shade of the tree is falling into, because you don't want the habitat to be too dark. So you want to have some shady places in the habitat, but not too much of them, because it makes the whole habitat dark and you can't see the animals properly. So therefore just a few of those big trees, and always in such a manner that they don't throw too much shade. Yeah, and as I said, in next week's episode we are going to build the habitat for the male rhino on the other side of the house. It's going to be a pretty much smaller habitat, because we're going to have just one single animal in there, no antelopes, nothing else, just the one rhino. We're going to have a pool for him as well, and then we are going to take care for the indoor habitats for tortoises and pangolin, if you don't have any other ideas. Yeah, here come the dead trees. Which is also some kind of a barrier for the rhinos, because it will stop the rhinos from running after an antelope, for example, because rhinos and elephants and hippos can't jump. So therefore, if you have something in a habitat like this here that is big enough so that the rhinos can't step over it in a natural way, they won't. They just have to move around it, whilst antelopes can jump over it. So therefore it also works as a safety barrier for those animals in here as well. Just a few little rocks, not too much of them, because you don't want the antelopes to be able to break their legs, and you also want the rhinos not to be hurt. Just some signage on the inside. Don't worry, that's going to change. There's not going to be porcupines in here. And I also noticed by the end of the video that I did the sign for the rhinos in German language, so I'm going to change that as well, so no worries about that. I don't know why I did that, because I did 3 of the signs, for the nilgai, for the black buck and for the rhinos, and just the one for the rhinos got in German language. So yeah, sorry for that. And with that being said, we are at the end of the video. I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. I especially did enjoy building all of it. And yeah, if you did enjoy, just hit the like button, subscribe my channel so you don't miss out on any future episodes, and hit the hype button if you can, so that more people can enjoy my videos in the future. So have a great week, guys. Bye.